Hello and welcome to Cupcake Addiction's whipped white chocolate ganache frosting tutorial, where I'm going to be showing you how to make this delicious whipped white chocolate ganache. Now, ganache is incredibly versatile. When it's fresh, it's really runny and can be poured. When it's firm and set, it's quite hard and it can be spooned. And when you whip it, it comes up beautiful and fluffy and perfect for frosting cupcakes. So tools and equipment that we will be using today. I've got an electric mixer. I'm using an electric mixer with a whisk attachment today. You can also use paddle, but whisk really is preferred for getting enough air into our mixture. I'm using some white chocolate, which I've just got measured out in a bowl, and I will leave all of the quantities for today's ingredients in the description box below. Now with that white chocolate, bear in mind that this is a white chocolate and cream frosting, so the flavour of your white chocolate is going to be quite intense, and you want to make sure that you're not using a really cheap and nasty brand. Try to choose something that's a white chocolate that you would like to eat. I've got a whisk and I've got some cream. Now this is whipping cream, so it's got about a 40% milk fat, and it's the type of cream that you would whip with a whisk and use on desserts. So the first thing that we want to do, we don't need our mixer just at the moment. You're going to take your white chocolate and just pour the cream over. This is going to be the microwave method for our white chocolate ganache, but you can also do this on the stove top, and I'll leave directions for how to boil the cream and add in the white chocolate for stove top in the description box below. But we're using a microwave today. It's really quick, it's really easy, and it gives you the exact same result. So I'm going to take this mix and I'm just going to shake it around so that the cream's kind of coating that white chocolate. I'm going to go and put this into the microwave for a minute on high. And then we'll bring it back and we'll give it a stir. Alright, so we've just come back from our first minute in the microwave, and you'll see that white chocolate is kind of sunk down a little bit, so now that cream's completely covering it. Just give it a little stir with your whisk. Now as you start to stir this, we're going to give it another couple of 1-minute sessions in the microwave, but as you start to stir it, you are going to see some yellow. That's the cocoa butter getting released from the white chocolate as we melt it down. So we're just going to give that a little stir just to agitate it a little bit, and we're going to pop that back into the microwave for another minute on high. Come back and stir it again. All right, now coming back from our second microwave, you will see how yellow that's starting to get now. So you're really starting to see those cocoa butters coming out. And different microwaves are going to have different cook times here. So as I'm stirring that, you can sort of see, you can still see little chunks in there, so it's not fully melted. But with white chocolate, you do want to make sure that you give it a good stir. Stir it for a minute or so, just to make sure, because particularly white chocolate, it melts quite slowly, but the main thing that melts it is actually moving it around. So the more that you move it and the more that you stir it, the more it's going to melt. You want to make sure that you've got no chunks of white in that sort of yellowish looking mixture. And normally this is where everybody panics, because they all think, oh my goodness, I wanted white ganache and it's gone really yellow. They think they've done something wrong, but this is exactly how it's supposed to look at this stage. Once it firms up again, those cocoa butters and milk solids will come back together and it will regain its lovely white chocolate shade. All right, so look, I'm happy that's got no chunks and lumps in it. For me, that's just been 2 lots of 1 minute in the microwave. But depending on the power of your microwave, you may need to give it a 3rd go or even up to a 4th go. So just make sure that you are giving it a good stir and it's got no lumps. Now, you want to take that one away and you want to let it cool. You want to let it cool for at least 2 hours. You don't want it to be firm again, but you do want it to be sort of a thick liquid and cool to the touch. So we can't whip this while it's at all warm, lukewarm, anything like that. Must be cool. So we're going to take that away and we're going to let it cool, and we'll be back to whip it shortly. All right, so this has had a couple of hours to cool, and I always like to cool mine just covered in some plastic wrap at room temperature. So you can see there, it's nice and thick. It's starting to regain its white colouring, but definitely still sort of runny or spoonable. So now we're just going to pop it on the mixer and turn it on. You're going to whip that on high speed until it basically turns light, fluffy and white. All right, so that is our simple white chocolate ganache. Now, when I show that to you, you can see here how white it's come up now. So we've gone back up to that beautiful white chocolate color. It's really nice and spoonable. It's not going to fall off that spoon unless you give it a couple of good hard shakes. That is going to be beautiful to pipe. As it is right now, it's perfect to do some sort of low style swirls. So our low style smooth swirl would be perfect. If you want to do a higher swirl, a Sunday style swirl, or anything more technical with it, let it sit at room temperature for 2 to 3 hours because it is going to get a little bit firmer. I love this recipe. It's really easy to make, beautiful to pipe, and when you eat it, it's like biting into clouds of soft white chocolate. I hope that you guys love this recipe as much as I do, and thanks very much for watching.